Okay. Um, all right, here we go. So I don't remember. Confessional, housekeeping, and new developments, I think, is what I said about here. So on the confessional side of things, really just to bring everyone up to speed on kind of just generally what's going on. I had yesterday off work, and then I'm off this weekend as usual, and then I'm taking Monday and Tuesday off as well. Yesterday, I went to a venue that I just wanted to film at, and it was cool. I just wanted to. I'm thinking about a documentary. Um, Thinking about filming a documentary, and so I just approached these guys and said, "Do you mind if I use your stage to for a documentary?" And they were like, "Cool, yeah, sure." And they didn't even ask me what it was about. Um, it was about really shitty bars to avoid. No, but they were really cool. So I did that. That was kind of like my thing yesterday. It didn't take very long, but I kind of arranged my day a little bit around it. And then after I was done filming there, I went to a few other places. I was thinking about going to a few other places. And then I don't know, I just kind of got out of the mood. It was getting into rush hour. And so I just kind of bailed, came home, ended up taking a nap, a 2-hour nap, and then waking up and thinking about performing, and then instead elected just to go straight to the gym. Came home, meditated, and then I think I had oatmeal. The cool thing about this is I can tell you exactly what happened yesterday, because another thing that I was doing yesterday, which I probably need to put in here. Put a little note here when we get to the new developments. What I'm working on is I'm not stressing over this, but I'm trying to, if I think about it, if I do kind of remember exactly when something happens, I'm putting it on my calendar. So I can tell you exactly what I did yesterday. So, and I forgot about this as well. So I did my housekeeping process, and I don't think I've mentioned this term housekeeping before. I'm not sure on this channel. But housekeeping is basically just planning my day. It's just a word that I use for planning my day, and it's a little more than just figuring out what I'm going to do. It sometimes involves like cleaning my desk, giving myself permission to sort of just clean my desk. That's why I call it housekeeping. And there's a very specific process. I have a housekeeping process for work as well, which was where that term originated. Because I found that I needed to have a way to get my workday started. And then so that I kind of felt like I was in a good position to really just kind of be mindful to execute on the plan. And so, so yesterday, kind of like today, I got on this, I got sidetracked a little bit, but I'm not getting sidetracked from anything because I don't have anything. I've got carte blanche. And so what I decided yesterday was that I was off work. Okay. And so from the beginning of the day when I wake up till 4 p.m., I'm essentially totally free. I could just do nothing at all. And it doesn't matter because otherwise, because if I weren't off work, I would be at work. So I don't want to get greedy. I don't want to totally squander things either. But I just decided, look, I'm just going to go wherever the day takes me. And I kind of did, because I went and before I even went to that venue, I was thinking about getting business cards printed, because I keep running into people who are asking about me and how to get in touch with me and where I'm going to be playing so they can see me, and they're recommending me to go to venues and stuff. And then when I go, but I don't really want to go to venues because I don't really have like my information, and it's awkward. And so I decided to get some business cards printed. So literally like 7 a.m, I'm sitting there going through housekeeping, and I'm thinking, you know what? Why don't I just see if I could get FedEx to print me some business cards today, now, on my phone, without even getting up. Probably in retrospect, it would have been worth getting up and doing this on a computer, but I was able to do it. I got a very simple design, just putting it's like my name, my Instagram, my Venmo, and my phone number. And that's it. It's just black and white, big text. Here you go. And it was like $13, no brainer. They emailed me. And that's how I sort of decided I was going to do this venue thing. Cause I'm thinking, if my business cards are ready around noon, then that would be perfect, because I could go pick those up, go over to a venue, and then after the venue, I could go get lunch and kind of make a little mini day out of it, And that's exactly what I did. Although I got distracted and I ended up going to other venues, and I ended up eating lunch kind of late, and I had a pretty terrible lunch. So I did the whole pizza thing, and then I crashed and took a 2-hour nap. But it wasn't a horrible day, because there's nothing wrong with taking a nap. I'm starting to think that if I am out and I am dying of starvation, and I'm passing by, the vicinity of a pizza place. I can't do the one near me, though. I can't, because I'm always in the vicinity of the one near me, but there's another one that's a little bit further away. And so I think I'm going to have a rule. I'm going to make a rule for myself. And that rule is going to be that I cannot eat pizza from the place that's nearby. So that'll keep me from getting in trouble. And then I also cannot eat pizza from the place that's not nearby me, unless I'm kind of on the way. And I've had a rule for a while about things other than pizza. And it was a similar thing. It's like, I allow myself to indulge in food, different food. And let's talk about food. So food that's not that great, right? I will allow myself to indulge in food that's not that great if I'm not in a position where it could become a habit, So for example, Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving is a great one time a year. Right now, holidays are a little different, especially if you start getting birthdays in there and all these crazy fucking holidays that are happening all the time. You can't do that. So, but the opposite of that would be like, eating poorly with my kids, because that would be too often, right? Or eating poorly downtown or something. Well, I'm downtown every week, so that would be too often. So if I could set this pizza thing up to say, not my local place, and I can go to this other place if it's really like I'm in a valid, genuine crisis. And I was kind of in a crisis yesterday. It was later on in the lunch hour. I was kind of just ravenous. I had been very active that morning and stuff like that. Okay, so let's go back to what's going on. So I had these business cards printed, went and picked them up, went to the venue, got distracted, went to some other places, went to grab pizza, came home, 2-hour nap. Before I even went, I did a live stream yesterday. So here's how it went. I printed the business cards. I did a YouTube live stream yesterday. Then I was going through my Gmail inbox and drinking water. And I think that was all part of the live stream. I'm not sure. Then I had breakfast and brushed and flossed my teeth. Then I went to the apartment. I had to go to my apartment complex office because my air conditioning went out yesterday. Actually, it was the day before yesterday. I was freaking out. Took the trash out, did some other things around the house. Then I went to the stage thing. And picking up the business cards before that. Then I did pizza. Then I did a nap. Then I researched happenings around town, basically trying to figure out where I wanted to perform today, which is just a normal thing that I do. Then I went to the gym. Then I had a really great talk on the way home from the gym because I walk to and from the gym. And there's an elderly neighbor of mine who I always say hello to, ran into him. He invited me into his house, telling me just all about his kids and his job and showing me his the work that he had done on the house and stuff like that. And he's just a great guy. So that was awesome. And it was for a minute, but I didn't care. And then I got home. When I got home, I meditated. And that pizza really stuck to my ribs, probably because I went right to bed. Then I meditated. Then, kind of did after that. Yeah, after that, it was really just more like at that point, it was like getting to like 8 p.m. I didn't put this down, but I had, I did here. I'm actually going to change this. Then I had oatmeal. And that was, it's a long time from having pizza at 2 to having dinner at 8, and after going to the gym and all that, meditating and everything. So I don't really know how I did that. Maybe that pizza was really sticking to my ribs, and I don't know, but I can't believe I made it from 2 o'clock to 8 o'clock. But after meditation, it was time to eat. And so this is great because I even have a reminder in here. Some new things. I'm always adding new things. So one thing I've added in here that's been here for a while is to turn down the air conditioning before bedtime, because I need to keep it cool upstairs. And I'm pretty good at doing it, but it would really be a problem if I didn't turn down the air conditioning. But 9 out of 10 times, I'm just ignoring that reminder. So at 8 p.m. every night, I'm like, turn down the air conditioning. In the morning, I don't have to worry about it because I have a morning routine. I come into this room that you see me in right now, and there's the thermostat right there. So that's not a problem, but at night it depends, because sometimes I'm upstairs and whatever. I just need the reminder at night. And then I have another one because I've started to turn off my internet equipment at night. It's just something, it's like, I need to Google it. I should Google it right now. Let me Google it right now. Can Wi-Fi router disrupt sleep? spending the night next to a router. So something, oh, here's a National Institute of Health. Results from first human something. Experimental study. Okay, so I'm not, let me tell you how I thought about this. I had a friend many years ago that told me that, he didn't have any electronics in he wasn't a tinfoil hat guy at all. But he didn't have any electronics in his bedroom. And he had this theory about sleep. So maybe this has been around for a while. Let's see is there a date on this? It's weird, but it looks like it might be 2020. Like it's encoded. Here it is, July of 2020, it looks like. So here's results. Results showed no statistically significant acute effects of a whole night Wi-Fi exposure on subjective sleep parameters, as well as parameters characterizing the macro structure of sleep. I guess that's like REM sleep or something. Analysis of the microstructure of sleep revealed a reduction in global EEG power in the alpha frequency band during NREM sleep under acute Wi-Fi exposure compared to sham, which I don't know what that means. Discussion. Results of the present human experimental study are well in line with several other neurophysiological studies showing that acute RF EMF exposure has no effect on the macro structure of sleep. The slight physiological changes in EEG power observed under Wi-Fi exposure are neither reflected in the subjective assessment of sleep nor at the level of objective measurements. The present results are not indicative of a sleep disturbing effect of Wi-Fi exposure. Okay, so good enough for me to keep turning it off. Just the fact that it's a thing. I didn't even know if it was a thing. So I've just been turning the thing off, and it's kind of a funny story, if I may. I could have brought that up so you guys can see it. Doesn't matter. Kind of a funny side story to this. So I rent my router, my Wi-Fi router, from my cable company that I hate, and they just raised the price of it just because inflation, right? And then I actually had a little bit of trouble with it coming back up the first time I turned it off, but that's because of me deliberately like turning them both on at the same time just to see if it would work, and then spacing out and forgetting that I did that. Anyway, so it's just a story of my life. It's hard being a space cadet. And anyway, so I called them, anyway, it's a whole thing, right? But the guy I was talking to at some point, I was telling him like, I'm turning this off because I can't wear my tinfoil hat to bed. It's too uncomfortable and whatever. He's like, well, it's probably not the best idea to turn those off. They're not designed to be powered down and powered up again every day. And I'm like, great, because that's exactly what I'm going to fucking do. So I'm going to break their fucking router. I mean, now it's like a vendetta. Now I just feel good about wearing this thing out, and I'm just going to keep burning them out until they refuse to give me another one, and then I'll go buy my own and I won't pay them for it anymore. Okay, I'm a little bit of a troll, a little bit. I'm working on it. Like genuinely working on it. I'm not kidding. Okay, so where were we? What were we talking about? I think we were doing we were way off track, but I know where we were off track. What we were doing is I was going through like my calendar. So like I said, Turning off the internet equipment is something that comes up at 9 p.m. So from a perspective of just reminding myself of things, that's what I am using the calendar for. So I also, it's almost like I want to make a little bit of a list of like history, like literal memory. I'm just making a note of these: history, memory, and then I'm going to say something like including photos. And those are including falling off the bone. And I'll tell you about falling off the bone in a second. But also practical uses, which I'll show you. I'll talk about that in a second too. Practical issues, Jesus. Practical uses that then fall into there. Okay. So there's this whole like one, which is all of these things, all of this. And then there's a two with my calendar, which is just information versus tasks. And then I have executive. I'll call it conductor. Executive, agency. Okay. So there's two themes that I'm really like pushing more when I think about the calendar. And I'm keeping much more actually into Gmail because I'm reintroducing retracking strategy in Gmail. And then what was the other thing? .w. Okay. So I captured that so that I can walk through it in a way that is coherent. So here's, and this goes under the new developments. So let's go ahead and just jump into new developments for a second. We'll just flesh that out and move on. So I've a big change basically in how I'm using the calendar. And so I'm taking some things out of the calendar and then I'm putting more things in the calendar. Or one thing really. So I am removing, there's also routine. Hang on. Yeah, routine. So I'm going to say minus routine. And then I'm going to say swing, but that's just a word. That's a word that won't mean anything to you. Okay. So let me talk about what I'm adding, okay, to the calendar. I'm adding to the calendar, and I'm not committed to this or anything. I definitely don't want this to come to interrupt what I'm calling flow, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But basically, it's I just want to start to kind of dip a toe back in the water of kind of recording my past. Like what did I do today? I've always been horrible about it. I have found it very, very effective in the development of my routines and things. And a lot of improvements that I've made just in general, just the ability to go back and look at sort of how I'm spending my time, what I'm doing, even things like the universe list. It even helps that. But I don't want to get too deep into that kind of stuff. So it's like, I am starting to kind of record what it is I'm actually doing. So when I get done with this stream, I'm probably going to just very quickly around, whatever the hour is, like say I spend an hour streaming, and whichever hour it's kind of most closely aligned to, or maybe if it crosses 2 hours, I might put it across 2 hours. I'm still a little bit loose in the way that I define like precise sort of times. Because I'm only interested in like the hour in which things occur. So I'm not really sure I'm not really sure how much I'm going to fret over, whether something happened from 1:30 to 2:30. And so do I put it on the 1 o'clock hour, or the 2 o'clock hour? I mean, I just don't think it's that important for it to be very precise, but I'd like to have some kind of idea. But if it's really really pretty closely aligned, either within the 1 o'clock hour, or maybe 12:55 to 1:40 or something like that. I mean, that's pretty much the 1 o'clock hour. That's close enough. And that's just something I'm going to define myself. And this is totally an aside, but sometimes it's important because I don't want to make things sound like they're too simple, like they're more simple than they are. But at the same time, I don't want to introduce every nuance in the world. But the reality is that I don't know if others are going to experience this, but for me, when I got into using my phone to accommodate my memory impairment, I was just deluged with all kinds of nuances and just even bugs. I mean, these systems the phones and apps are horrifically buggy. It's just unbelievable. It's to the point where it took me 4 years to figure out something workable, and I'm still finding bugs and running into bugs everywhere I turn. It's like doors are getting slammed in my face because of bugs. And so I got to be careful when I want to enhance something or start to use something in a different way. And I can give you a million examples of that, but then that wouldn't be very fun to watch. Okay. Anyway, my point is that when I'm done with this stream, and let's do a time check. Okay. It's like 8:20 in the morning. And I've been talking to you for 27 minutes, right? So that's pretty much just like 8 o'clock, right? So when I'm done with this, I'll probably just kind of look and be like, yeah, just 8 o'clock-ish, is where I kind of did this. So that's my point. It doesn't matter how you do it. I'm still just getting my feet wet. Yesterday was the first day, and it's just kind of like a focus for me. So that's number one in sort of a change in how I'm using the calendar. It's almost something I'm kind of bringing back, and I'm trying to figure out a way for it to allow me to reconstruct my day. And like I just did in the beginning of this video, I was able to just completely reconstruct. I totally forgot. I didn't forget that I did it. I knew I went and got business cards yesterday because I'm excited about it, but I didn't think about it when I was trying to recall for you. So that's the tricky part. It's like, I know I got business cards. I know exactly what they say. I was excited about it. That's why I went to the venue yesterday, because I had something I could give them. And so anyway, it's a wonderful ability. And then you can also, just as a little bit out of an aside, is another thing that I want to be doing is taking pictures. And there's video I can do. I've got video of myself performing. That's an artifact. I can take pictures for just practical purposes, and I'm getting better at that too. I'm taking more pictures of like handwritten notes and stuff like that. I've done that for a while, but now I'm being a little more deliberate about it. Like even if I already have a physical cue or something in digital format, or I send whatever, I'm taking photos. I might take a photo, then send myself a Gmail, but I might save the photo anyway, even though I don't have to because it's in the Gmail, but then it creates like an artifact in my photo. So I can always look at my photos and say, hey, what did I do today? And then if I can start taking more photos, more videos, voice recordings, whatever type of digital artifacts, if I can find that sort of balance in kind of yeah, I'm going to talk through something when I'm on my walk. Maybe I talk through it with a voice recording. Maybe I'm going to go through this and I'm talking about it with you, and then I have this artifact. And sometimes it's useful. Who knows? I might be like, what was that thing I was thinking about? I could go back to this stream if I want to remember something. And this stream itself is an artifact for me, just even knowing that that's what I did. It's like, oh yeah, I did that stream the other day. That's why, I was busy that day or something. Okay. So artifacts in the use of calendar. Other thing with calendar is I'm using calendar. I'm starting to emphasize more and more using the calendar as more of a pure information, like a pure reminder, versus actually like structuring my day full of tasks. And I came to that realization because one day the straw that broke the camel's back was me just I was really struggling with how to put my day together. And I swear I'm not even going to go into it. But it dawned on me, it's like I have become sort of a slave to this kind of ability to use the calendar. And the fact, I basically turned something that was an effective tool and an enabler to something that I was a slave to. And I just started architecting too much. And then I started like trying to predict things too much. And the reality is that life just isn't like that. Even today is much better than yesterday. In this moment is much better than today. But I was shocked at the fact that I just was struggling so much to try to organize one of my days to the point where I just said, fuck it, I'm just going to do these two important things and see if this third thing can just work into my evening somehow. And it did. And then the next day, I think, or either that day or it was the next day, I was like, I'm going to be super aggressive and see if I can do all this stuff. Anyway, the point is that structure is dangerous for me. Structure is a very super dangerous thing. And what I want to use the calendar for more, like I said, the first thing was like a record, like a log of what I'm doing. Second thing is going to be more pure information. So what information do I need? So for example, some of them can be some of them can be associated with tasks. Like I've got an event. It's an event, but it's more of a reminder about remembering my headphones and my water bottle when I go to the gym. And there's a couple of reasons why I need that. First one is I'm now totally addicted. I must have these at the gym. I just can't stand the fucking shitty ass, stupid fucking music at the gym. It's like, I don't even understand it. It's like if you couldn't find worse music. If you tried, these people are fucking geniuses. And so this is just an addiction now. I've been doing this for a while, but now I want to start bringing my water bottle. And there's a whole story behind why to do that, but it's fairly new. And I've picked up on that pretty well, but I've slipped on these a couple times, and I am spoiled now. I can no longer ever go to the gym without these things. Fuck it. I just won't go to the gym without these. But so I can have information that's related, that's timely, in the sense that at 4 p.m. every day, I have the reminder to take my water bottle and my headphones to the gym. Am I going to the gym at 4 p.m.? No. But will I go to the gym before 4 p.m.? No. So what I do is I just kind of serve up this little reminder. Hey, don't forget your headphones. Now, I'm kind of starting to go to the gym more right at 4, but sometimes just depending on how my day goes, I might have eaten earlier or not eaten, or I might want to have dinner before, and then I'll go to the gym later. So I can and what I'm doing in that instance is it's like, oh yeah, I need to remember my headphones. I'm not going to go to the gym now. and say it's 4 p.m. and it's like, you know what, maybe I'll just drag this down to 5. But then again, if I'm going to eat dinner, I know I'm not going to go to the gym at 5. I'm probably going to go to the gym at 6 so I can digest my food. So I can just drag it right down to 6. So it's more pure information delivery for me. And then I'm the conductor. I'm the executive. I get to make decisions. I'm pretty good. I've realized, and I knew this before. This is just a typical thing that you learn stuff and then you forget. But I remember, like it was yesterday, realizing that I'm a pretty good sort of conductor. I'm an improvisational guitarist. I'm pretty good at just kind of handling, maybe 3 or 4 things at a time. I'm like kind of just good at it. You can give me a list of like sort of 10 things that I might want to be aware of, or I might want to act on, at this time. And I can kind of go through them and say, hey, the weather's okay. I'd like to go for a walk, but the weather's not good. So maybe we hit the gym, or maybe I meditate. And I'm just good at that. And so that's really what I'm trying to do, is move from really structuring every day. The idea of the structure was good because the point is for me to plan my day fairly thoroughly with the clarity of today. There's not a whole lot of things that hit me, knock on wood, but by and large, I'm not getting just deluged with a bunch of stuff distracting me from my day, which is great. And part of that is me. But so I have a good handle on today. I don't have any kind of handle on tomorrow or later this week, what I'm going to be doing this month. I don't even do that. I don't recommend people do that either. There is a binary non-sequencing theory where you can take a day that's like tall like this and like pivot it like that. If, for example, you're very busy and you only have like an hour to work on a project and stuff. But anyway, I've got a whole theory around that. But I have a lot of control over my day. And so I want to shape. Oh, I remember what I was saying. So what I want to do is my goal in doing all that was also connected to this notifications I could send to myself. And so using the calendar app, I can serve up notifications by hour to me. And so I have like sort of like hourly to-do list. And once I have that, it's sort of like, I just sort of have my marching orders, and then I can kind of go into zombie mode, be very mindful. That was the idea of the kind of structuring the day, so that I could do all my thinking while I'm consuming coffee in the morning, and then I can just kind of follow the lead that my previous self has laid out for me. That was the idea. And that's actually powerful. That would be great. And it is still very, very great with sort of my routine things, because I know every evening I do 2 things really. I mean, there's dinner, but I'm trying to not worry about food unless it starts to become a problem, and then I'll have to remind myself to eat. And that's okay if I have to do that. I've always been bad about it, but I'm trying to simplify my life so much so that it's this Buddhism like food in the bowl, water in the bucket kind of thing that my friends make fun of me about. But the closer I get my life, and this is, I don't know what the food I've never understood the food in the bowl, water in the bucket thing, but I have like my own understanding sort of about it. It's almost like an ideal. It's like a North Star that you're never gonna reach, but it's directionally. And so to me, it's like food in the bowl, water in the bucket. And then everything else is really like sort of extra. And so it needs to be scrutinized or maybe even let go and that kind of thing. Of course, there's sleep and work, exercise, and even meditation needs to be part of my life and stuff like that. But my point is that there are 2 things that other than eating and the obvious things, there are 2 things that I really just have to do every day. If I'm sick or I can't do them, that's one thing, but it's going to take an act of God to keep me from going to the gym and to keep me from meditating. If I go to the gym and I meditate every day, then the rest of the day is great, unless there's a true like must do glass ball for that day. The reason I'm bringing all this up is that, there's, when you think about it, kind of routine can be thought of as like a structure, because for me, I have kind of a 7-day routine, even though I don't have to remember it, I don't have to write it down or anything like that, but it's basically sleep, work, eat, exercise, and meditate. Like that's kind of my day. And I do that every day. Every single day of my life is the same. And that work part is like my job. And then the work on the weekends or when I'm off is like I'm working for myself. Now, I don't need to actually work. Like yesterday, I was off. So that's a totally different thing. That's not routine at all. Like, so yesterday I had this free day from like, whatever you want to call it, 8 a.m. or 7:30 8 whatever, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. was just mine. I could do anything I want yesterday and still get my gym and meditation in, because that's in the evening. So it just depends on how you think about it. But at a macro level, these routines and structure really work. But then when you try to start to piece together things too much, it's just, for me, I'm not even kidding. I was like melting down, literally melting down about trying to structure this day. And then it dawned on me, this is way too much. Now, having said that, if I have a genuinely complex day that I need to put together, whether it's I'm helping someone else or whatever it is, right? The calendar app is the best. It is the best thing ever, because it's the visual and you can see your entire day and you drag things around. It's great when you need it. But if you don't, it'll bite you in the ass. And that is what I'm trying to say, is the calendar for me is now kind of a log, and it's more around delivering information that I need when I need it. And the corollary to that, or the converse of that, is that I don't want information that I don't need right then, So that's where Gmail comes in, but also the calendar. It's like, I know that I don't need to remember these until at the earliest 4 p.m. So I don't want to remember your headphones on some list and that I can't act on. And then it's like I've got this big fucking list of to-dos and I don't even know which ones I can even fucking do. And that is insanity. And so that's where the calendar comes in. And Gmail is now the same. So let me talk about I got the calendar. So what is now not in the calendar as much? Well, like tasks, more tasks I'm moving over to Gmail, and especially tasks that are not time sensitive in any way or time specific. So even a task that must be done today, but doesn't have any real time specificity. I'm going to keep it in Gmail because it's there and I know what I need to do and I'll just go do it. And that's it. Now, I can't go to the grocery until 10 a.m. because the meat department doesn't open till 10 a.m. Now, that is something that I'm almost always going to put on the calendar, just because it's a way of not having my need to go to the grocery be in my way, because when I can't do anything about it. I don't want anything up in my grill that I can't act on. I don't want it. It's just noise. I don't want that noise. So anything that I can't do immediately goes onto the calendar. So at 10 o'clock, I'm going to say something like, now I'm not going to say go to the grocery. I might say like put grocery or something, but it's the message is to remember that I need to go to the grocery today. That's what it is. And then I decide what I'm going to do. And I can even springboard off of there into you setting an alarm, back into Gmail, deciding I'm not going to do it at all, asking somebody else for help, whatever it is. But what I need to remember is that I need to go to the grocery today. And the second thing is time blindness. That's what helps me too, because I don't pay attention to time. And it's kind of fun. To be honest, it's fun not thinking about time. If you don't have that underlying anxiety that you're losing track of time, like right now, I'm watching the time that I've been live, and when I start getting to an hour, I'm going to be like, bro, like I got to wake up. So why don't we do this? It's 45 minutes. This is what I call the home stretch of an hour, not just the hour that I'm with you, but the hour, the 8 o'clock hour. So it's 8:38 p.m. When it gets to 8:40 p.m., we're now in the home stretch. So I have this whole thing where I just started this, but I'm trying to be a little more time aware, but in like very soft, like, so I have this idea from the top of the hour to 20 past the hour is the beginning of the hour. Then there's the middle of the hour, which is 20 past to 20 till. And that's sort of like that bottom of the hour or that middle part of the hour. And then there's like the home stretch or the end, if you want to think about it, like the end of the hour. And for this stream, we're kind of in that end part of the hour because it's 14 minutes to go. Over here, we're in one more minute. It's going to be 8:40, so we're going to be in that home stretch of the 8 o'clock hour, and then that is a good time for me to be thinking, like, hey, 20 minutes just happens to be a great amount of time because it's very clear to me, like what I can get done in 20 minutes and what I can't get done in 20 minutes. And anything that I can't get done in 20 minutes, I can just push it down. I call it cascading, but it's not really, but I kind of push it down my schedule, and I can even do what I call punting. I can just punt it to the next hour because I just don't know even when I need to know it again. But I'd rather have more information than I need than less information than I need. And then, like I said, I'm really good in the moment. And then if I have what's called carte blanche, which means there's nothing I need to do today, then I really need to just flow, just do whatever. Don't, like I said, balance. Don't just squander the whole day away doing this, but also don't get greedy to try to get too much done, right? So have a little bit of fun. Some stuff for me would be nice too, because this is for me. I get stuff out of this, but this is mostly for other people. Playing guitar would be something, well, that other people enjoy that too, and that's part of what I like about it, but it is also pretty selfish. All right, let's go to today. Now, what we want to do is I'm starting to start with the calendar more and then moving right over to Gmail. And the reason is that the calendar is this time specific stuff. So every morning I've got a routine kind of information. This is like a suggestion, but it's this idea of walking in the morning when it's cool and to kind of get my brain going. I haven't been doing that. Normally this is what gets my brain going, but I'm wondering about just getting outside and starting my day outside, especially when it's cool. Maybe I even take my Yeti or even carry this and just, I don't know, walk up. I don't even have to be walking, but I could walk just around the block, or I could go up to the park and hang out, watch the sunrise, whatever. Just getting the hell out of here because I know it's good for me. I feel better when I get outside. So why not start the day outside? Anyway, I've got that on my calendar from 5 a.m. to up until 8 a.m. And that's just because that's my kind of housekeeping window of time, sort of. So it's just going to be, I'm just using it as a way to put information in like in a semi-persistent sort of way from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. That suggestion, that idea is going to be on my phone's lock screen. It's no longer on my lock screen now because it's 8:42. So I sort of already sort of kind of missed that, but it's not a big deal because it's just something I want to throw out there. I don't know whether I'm going to keep it or not, but it's there. And then so I don't have to worry about that. At 7 a.m., I have this information that's called Go Slow plus Flow, and then exclamation point barriers, which that means exclamation point is like in some computer programming language, it's like not. So it's like not barriers. So the idea is to go slow. Like everything I do, go slow. Speak slowly now. Walk slowly into the kitchen when I have to walk slowly. Do the dishes, one spoon at a time. It just goes slow. And then, but then there's the flow part of it, which is I want to go slow. I want to feel and understand that I've got lots of time. That time doesn't matter. And I need to what I call bask in that, but I also call it carte blanche. But I need to know that I have not only permission to do what I'm doing, but I have plenty of time and I can just do it. But the other part of flow is that whatever I feel in the moment, whatever tangent I want to go on, whatever I see what needs to be done, that's kind of part of flow. Is if I want to empty my dishwasher while my water's boiling, I can do that. I don't have to go look at Gmail to get another task that I can fit in. I can just kind of do whatever I see, and emptying my dishwasher is a luxury. It's totally is a luxury. It keeps my sink clean because I can load the dirty dishes into the dishwasher and stuff like that. It's like a thing that I really would like to be part of my life. So that's kind of the flow part too. The other part of flow and the barrier side of things is that I tend to overly consider my future self. And I don't want to be that way. It is a balance. I do want to help my future self. And I want to know that my previous self has got my back. And that's kind of that state of knowing that there's nowhere else I need to be and nothing else I need to be doing. And that's what helps to battle that underlying anxiety that I would otherwise have. And so all these things sort of go together. So that's what that is. And but the point of it being on my calendar is that I want to remember that. And I want to remember it sort of all day, but I don't want it to be a persistent reminder, because I can put anything on my phone's lock screen and I can have it stay there all day. All I have to do is make an event that, from whatever, but I can, 12 a.m. To 11:55 p.m. And that event will be on my phone screen all day, and I can make it every day. The problem is that if I see it all the time, I'm going to start to ignore it. And so what I'm experimenting with now is, hey, why don't I just see this and then make myself interact with it and drag it down the screen? Maybe I don't drag it to the next hour. Maybe I drag it just maybe 3 times a day. Now, I also have a way to use Gmail to do this with an even softer reminder, where I can have something like Go Slow, but instead of on the calendar, it's in Gmail. Anything in Gmail is going to automatically be seen by me every morning. So that's a minimum. And then what I can do, and what I've started to use Gmail for, more for tasks, like I was saying, like I just want to work these tasks from top to bottom. I'm also starting, because I've got that working these tasks from top to bottom, if I'm in Gmail sort of more, it becomes more of what I call an intersection, which is something that I'm going to run into or I'm going to see. So I can kind of put kind of reminders in there. It's more of like an organic way to do things than to have alarms going off all the time. And so like this Go Slow, I could put it in Gmail and then put it in here. In fact, I think I have actually today, I've implemented this. In fact, I'm sure, because I can tell from an artifact that I won't get into, but I have implemented this now in calendar, where it comes up every morning and then I can start to drag it down. And that's what I'm going to do. But I could also do it in Gmail, where in the morning I can decide, instead of having to to sort of committing this and creating noise in my calendar, I could have it in Gmail and then move it to the calendar. But I can also have it in Gmail and then see it in the morning and then decide to snooze that until noon, or in my case, it's till 11 a.m. or until 3 p.m., which are both like times where it's sort of like early reminders of what's coming up at lunchtime and what's in or the evening, respectively. So but it's a softer sort of thing because it won't be. Actually, now that I think about it, Gmail, I am allowing Gmail to place notifications on my lock screen. So if I did that and it's something just 3 times a day, Gmail may be the best way to do it. Just have it in the morning, say, oh yeah, go slow. Yeah, I need to go slow. Then 11. So just snooze it to the next item, which is like Gmail does it automatically, to like 11, and then it'll do 3. Or if I want it to be 3, that's one of the default things. So it'll be like this evening or whatever. What's it called? I think it's afternoon. Later today is what they call it. So yeah, I could totally implement this in Gmail, but I want a little more juice. I want to put the pedal to the metal a little bit more, and I want to hold myself more accountable to this going slow, being mindful. There's all kinds of ways to say it, but I really like the idea of going slow and flow, and then barriers. And the barrier side of things is what that means is that I started to talk about it. I don't want to take too good of a care. I don't want to spend too much time on my future self. I need to be here. But also some of the things that I do for my future self don't make sense. Like putting my pepper grinder away. That just doesn't make sense because now my future self is just going to have to pull it out of the cabinet. And I use black pepper. I use my pepper grinder every meal. So it's just dumb. I leave it out, So, and the same thing with my phone. Sometimes I want to clean up my phone. I don't want to have a bunch of windows. I don't want to have a bunch of tabs. Like tabs are the quintessential ADHD symptom, right? Like people have 400 tabs and it's just an ADHD thing. Well, so I want to keep all that stuff clean. But at the same time, I don't want to spend so much time cleaning up when I'm going to go right back into something, So I sometimes though, it's nice. I'll just kind of close all my windows, and there's things about breadcrumbs I can talk about as well. But that's what the barriers are. There's barriers that things kind of get in my way, but I kind of want to have the flow. I want to go slow, but I also want to have that forward movement. I want to kind of ignore barriers. And some of these barriers are where I'm trying to clean up after myself too much. So that's what that is. Now, having said all that, this on the subject of actually calendar and what this means for communicating to myself is that I missed this. So I was talking to you. Actually, no, this is not your fault. It's 58 minutes and it's 8:50. Yeah, it's kind of your fault because I did start this stream in the 7 o'clock hour. So it's definitely your fault. So this is now still sitting at 7 a.m. So I'm going to miss this. So what I'm going to do immediately right now, it's 8:50 a.m. where I am. So I'm just going to drag this down right now, so I don't have to think about it. I'm just going to drag this down to 9 o'clock. And since I haven't really been going slow and all this, it'll be a great start to my day when I'm done with this to just kind of do that. Okay. So I'm going to do that right now. Drag this down. And all I have to do is just tap and drag it right down. It's so great. Then I have another one that I missed. And this one's called Keeping My Fans Up to Date on Where I'm Going to Be Performing. And again, this is a very soft thing because I haven't even decided where I'm going to perform today. But I kind of have some ideas, but I just haven't done it yet. But I want to remember to post it on my Instagram. So I'm going to go ahead and just drag that down. And that's what I love. I love about this idea of just reminding myself and just giving myself information, but I really I have zero structure today. It's Saturday. I tend to want to do things around the house, but I'm also got a couple of days off coming up. I have some more days off after that, coming up, where I can sort of catch up on this stuff around the house. So I just want to kind of chill and sort of do like a little bit of a staycation thing today. The other thing is that, Sundays, I really want to kind of make Sundays a little more about kind of doing housekeeping. That is squarely right in the crosshairs of the strategy that I call, like, what would the average person do? I call it the average person strategy because there's a lot more to it than that. But it's kind of like, does the average person do this? How does the average person do something? And like, Sundays are kind of like a normal average person thing. It's like Sundays are the day that people do things around the house. So, and I think that's a pretty good policy because of, Saturdays you're running errands or you're getting ready for Saturday night, then not much is going on around town. Everybody's kind of recovering in many ways from Friday and Saturday night. Like Sundays are just kind of days to do things around the house. Of course, it's not always that way. That's why I remind myself of things that need to be done around the house on Saturdays. But it's not a commitment to do those things on Saturdays. But what if the weather is terrible on Saturday, but it's going to be beautiful on Sunday or something? Well, maybe I'll do stuff around the house because there's literally nothing else to do. So it's that kind of thing. And also Gmail defaults to, I think this weekend is what it's called. Yeah, like this weekend like in this case, it'll be next weekend. So it's kind of a weekend focus, and that means for Gmail, it means Saturday. And next week always means Monday. But at work in Microsoft Outlook, next week always means, or it's not even next week, it's this week, and it always defaults to Friday. So I do things accordingly to that, the way that works, right? Okay, so you're working with the tools. Let's go back to calendar. Okay, so I took those three things. Now, the other thing I have is drinking water. And this starts at 8 a.m., but I'm not in trouble or anything, but I do want to add another glass of water to my hydration. And that is at 8 o'clock. So before 9 o'clock, I want to drag this down so that when 9 o'clock hits, I'll receive these 3 notifications. There are ways to work around that, but it's just so much nicer just to be able to just drag this down. And I'm going to say this event only because this is a everyday routine thing. And now my 8 a.m. hour is now empty, or is it? No, because 8 a.m. is when I'm doing this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do my documentation, my log part of this, and I'm going to say stream. In fact, I'm going to say YouTube stream. And now I've got a record of talking to you. And I can recount my day. And as long as I can recount I know that like 6 a.m., 7 a.m., I know that early in the morning I'm usually brewing my coffee and having my coffee and doing my housekeeping stuff. But this is on top of that. So I have devoted the 8 a.m. hour to YouTube. Okay. And so those are some examples about how I'm just like informing myself using the calendar. And then more of my I'm trying to work more from Gmail for the tasks. So let me see what I can talk about. I think we did, let me talk about Gmail. And what I'll do is I'm going to keep talking, but I'm going to shift and get my water. I'll show you how I do that. I'm going to practice and I'll show you in real time how these notifications come in because it's now 8:56. So I could get up right now and go get my water, but I'm trying to like train and wire my brain to sort of be responsive to this process. And I'm also, practicing and testing the notification process, paying attention to when the notifications come in to make sure there's no bugs, because there are some bugs around notifications, but I haven't seen anything where I'm not being notified by something. But sometimes I'll get an extra notification or an extra sound and I don't know what's causing it. But so far, there's nothing dangerous. There's no false negatives. I'm getting mostly like false positives or like extra notifications of things. And that is totally fine. I am fine with that. I even do that to myself, where I'll have lots of safety nets and extra reminders and things, and I don't care about that. I don't mind a bunch of noise about something that I just happen to not need that reminder anymore. I'm not worried about that at all. I'm much more concerned about forgetting things or worried about somewhere else I need to be and that kind of thing. I'm fine with juggling and conducting all of the information that's coming at me. Okay, so let's talk about Gmail. And these notifications are going to come in and I'm going to show you what's going on and then talk about that, even though there's not a whole lot to talk about there, but they're going to happen. So let's go to Gmail. Gmail. All right, a couple things in Gmail. So like I said, I'm trying to go away from structure. And if I just have a goal to piece together every day in the calendar, that's not going to work, because then I'm just going to over-engineer, overthink everything, and I'm going to freeze. I'm going to absolutely freeze, and then I'm going to fucking totally melt down. And I just don't need to do it. It's almost never needed. So I'm just going to err on the side of just not using the calendar. But if I've got to go here and there, and I got something for work, and then I got a doctor's appointment, and I got to do something for my kids, and whatever, and I got to work in the gym because it's doing something this evening. So then I'll want to go to the gym early, which means I might, not want to go. I should go out for lunch or something. I want to make sure I have a quick lunch. Maybe I'll eat oatmeal instead of making pasta for dinner, all that kind of stuff. No problem. I can kind of just use that tool, but not when I have not even a single must do for today. So that's what brings us into Gmail. And so let's talk about that, because that's the really important thing. So along with two other items that I'm starting to also add into using Gmail more for. Okay, so the first thing is like these tasks. Now, this is the way that I want to use Gmail. Hang on. That's a go slow. Keep the fans up to date and drink water. All right, let me point this out, because I fucking goddamn, I love this so much. And this is just so crucial. I want to share this with you. And this is the kind of like little tips and tricks here and there and little nuances about how these tools work. And I can't explain this all the time. And I want to create a recipe for people on how to use the phone. And it's almost like one of those things where it's like, deviate from this at your own risk, because it is a fucking insane piece of shit, these phones. I can speak for the iPhone, and I can speak for Gmail also, but I don't know if it's better on Android. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a little better on Android, just because it's Google and Android. But this is what I love. Let me just tell you what I love, and I'm not going to tell you why it's important or what I hate. So this is a tip, or this is how I use Gmail to remind me of stuff. This is my settings. Let me just go in there right now. I want to show you what my notification settings are for the calendar. I fucking love this, and it took me forever to come up with this. Not just the calendar and the notification settings, but just this is my way of communicating with myself at specific times, and it's through the lock screen and through calendar notifications. Okay, now here are my settings. Allow notifications is on, of course. Then time sensitive notifications And I don't know exactly. It says, they're always delivered immediately and remain on the lock screen for an hour. So that's critical because obviously it's nice to have them, so I don't know if there's anything that I want to be less important, whatever. So I just don't know. And I know there's AI shit coming or whatever. Here's the thing. Time sensitive notifications is important because if I want something to show up at 9 a.m. and I want it to stay for that hour, that's fucking perfect because that is how I function, is in these little hour chunks. Now, here's the thing that you don't know, or that they're not saying, is that I can keep something on the screen. And maybe they're talking literally about the lock screen versus the notification center. Okay, I think, yeah, they're talking about specifically the lock screen. But I can also keep something on the screen all day. Just as an aside, is that there's the notification center also. And I can do, like I was talking about before, you can do 12 a.m. to 11:55 p.m. That way you can have something on your, not technically on your lock screen, but in the notification center. And the only difference between those two is that your lock screen items will show even when your screen is locked, and then the notification center items will only show when your phone is unlocked, but you're on that lock screen. It's this terrible name, lock screen, but whatever. And then you get to that lock screen by just dragging down from the top of your screen. So time sensitive notifications. Then I have lock screen checked. This is in the alert section. So lock screen checked, notification center checked, banners checked, and this is the critical one. Banner style equals temporary. Super, super important. Now I have badges, but I've never seen a badge for calendar. So one of these days I might Google that. But I have it on, but I don't think I ever get badges. I don't even know what that would do. Anyway, maybe it has something to do with the widgets or something. I don't know. But here's the thing. And I've got the sound. Oh, yeah, this is another thing. So my sound equals radar. And radar is the sound that the alarm uses, right? But it's not persistent. It'll just be like, bop, 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 and just once. And so I like it because it's loud. I like it that it's the same sound as the alarm. I'm not sure, it doesn't really bother me, but because it's the same sound of the alarm, I'm not always sure that it's not an alarm, right? But if it happens twice, it goes beep, 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 then I'll know it's an alarm because it's not going to stop. So I kind of like it. I'm keeping it that way. If I could find something really loud that's different, maybe we should do that right now. Let's see if there's something loud. That's too long, and I'll tell you why. So that's another problem. Because, see, that's quick and it's loud, so it might be hard to. I forgot about Presto. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing Presto. Fucking love that. I forgot about Presto. So there you go. So I just changed it. So now I've got this little different ring than the radar. And so I'll know right away, without having to wait, that it's not an alarm. And now I've got my alarm sound. I've got my Presto sound for the calendar. But here's the thing. The banner style of temporary is critical. And I'm not going to tell you why, but this is the only way it's going to work. And this is what happens if you set it for temporary. You will hear the sound, and now I'm going to hear Presto. And it'll go, pop, 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 or ding, 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 whatever the fuck that is. And it'll go, and say I have 3 things, which is the case. Yeah, because I've got 3 things at 9 a.m. And so it'll go ding, 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 and it'll come down with drink water. Ding, 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 drink water. And then it goes back up. And then it comes back down. Ding, 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 keep the fans up to date. Back up. Ding, 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 go slow. Back up. And it's out of my way. I love it. It is so fucking awesome because it's exactly the right amount of time for me to be able to just look over and see the three things dropping down, and then they get the hell out of the way. It's just wonderful. And I'm not going to tell you all of the problems of if you try to do persistent. Not going to tell you. Not going to do that. Anyway, I'm very excited about that. Now, where were we? Those are my settings in the notifications. Let's get out of there and go back. Now, I'm so tempted to tell you about breadcrumbs because I have a breadcrumb here in the form of the window of my calendar app. But let me just go in there. Okay, so now I've got these three things. Oh, I know what I was doing. I was telling you, and here's another breadcrumb I had. And as we were talking about the Gmail, okay? So, and those things happened, so it got me sidetracked a little bit. Okay, Gmail. Okay. So let's go, let me go into Gmail while I'm talking about Gmail, okay? Now, I've got the starred things too. I want to talk about Gmail. And I'm going to talk about it, and also live right now, I'm going to go through, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what I call a cursory housekeeping. It's a weird name, but it's just these things stick in my head. And a cursory housekeeping is something, it's kind of like this. It's like I look at what's coming at me very quickly and say, there's actually two ways I can do it. There's two options. I have a today filter, and like I'm looking at everything coming at me and it's overwhelming. And now what I want to do is I want to just pick the things off that are must do's for today. So if something's not a must do for today, it's just like this. Okay, that's a cursory housekeeping. Now I can do another version of that, just depending on what's going on. But another way to do is to say, do a cursory review that's even more constrained and saying, what is it that's critical within like the next hour or something? And here's a perfect example. It's happening right now. I'm streaming to you. I'm feeling good about it. It's 9:09 a.m. There's nothing on my lock screen that's critical, although let me get my water right now. Let me finish this point, and then I'll get my water. And so right now, I'm talking to you. And so now what I want to do is I want to go look and say, hey, is there anything that's going to stop me from talking to you? Is there anything that needs to happen before, like, let's say, is there anything that has to happen in the 9 o'clock hour or before 10 a.m.? I know that the 10 a.m. hour, just because it's in my head and it's a routine thing, is that I'm going to want to eat. Okay, so at 10 o'clock, I'm going to want to eat, and I'm not going to stream that long. I really need to kind of start wrapping this up a little bit, and then we could do some more this afternoon or this evening or tomorrow or whenever. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do that. I'm going to say, I'm going to look at my Gmail, and I'm also going to look at my lock screen. Is there anything that needs to stop me from doing this? Okay. And I literally don't know. So if I don't do this, then I'm going to start feeling anxiety because I didn't plan to go on this long on this stream, but I'm enjoying it. I'm actually clarifying things for myself when I explain them to you. It just gives me clarity, and it kind of, I don't know if you realize this, but I've done things while, I've changed things. I just changed explaining the alert sound for my calendar notifications. Explaining that to you led me to be like, oh, well, let's see if we can find one. And then I found one, and bam, now I've got a nice little improvement in my process by just reminding myself. And I did that with a couple of other things during this. So I love this. It's all good in the hood. I just need to make sure that I'm not dehydrating myself, okay, and that kind of thing. So that's what we're going to do right now. Let me grab some water so I don't have to get back up and interrupt that, okay? And let me look at my lock screen, because these lock screen items are automatically kind of more important than Gmail, because I've actually said that I want to be informed of something. Doesn't mean I have to do something, but I decided now. I know that and I know myself that I punted these things just because I didn't know. But it's not a big deal for me just to look over here. So I see drink water, keeping my fans up to date, and going slow. Now, the going slow actually helped me just to look at that, because now I'm just like, it's like breathe. Go slow, go with the flow. It's Saturday, right? So I just benefited from looking at that. However, I do want to go. I also benefited. I know that keeping the fans up to date, not worried about that, but I'm not gonna like get that out of my way. I don't care yet, because I'm not even really getting this. But the drinking water is something that I want to do, and I want to have it here, and I don't want to interrupt you guys, right? So let's go get the water and have it here, and then I can drink the water while I'm doing this, okay? And there's a whole ping pong thing that I can talk about. So let's do that. This little pass through right here is effectively a wet bar. So I love that. So my cup's over here. I'm going to grab it and fill it up. I just had an idea when I went to the sink. Okay, so I'm filling up my water and I'm seeing that there's dishes in the sink, right? And I'm like stacking them in certain ways so I can get in there and stuff. And like I was telling you earlier, I really want to sort of keep my kitchen clean. I want to give myself the permission to just flow and ignore barriers and that thing I was telling you about. Go slow plus flow, and then without barriers kind of thing. But I can't do that right now. I can't. So I was looking at the sink and I'm thinking, wouldn't it be nice for me to be able to clean the sink, which means I would want to empty the dishwasher, which I've already begun to raid. One of these days I'd like to grow up and be an adult and just like empty the dishwasher. Just do it. It's a little complicated because I don't run the dry cycle, so I need to let the dishes dry overnight, but that's not an excuse. Because it's well past that time. Okay, so, but anyway, I was thinking over there, I was like, couple of things. The first thing was, wouldn't it be nice if I could do that? I can't do it now because I'm streaming. But it also made me think, I really don't want or need, I definitely don't want a reminder of stuff like that. I would just rather be able to have the time, to have the permission, to have the sense of agency, to remember that I can actually do that the next time I go over there. With the understanding that a lot of times, like I was going to get water. Well, why was I going to get water? Because I need to drink water. But sometimes drinking water has to do with having a meal. So I'm not going to interrupt my meal when I'm just going to get water so I can eat, stuff like that. So that's one of the little tricky things about the kitchen and doing that, because when I'm in the kitchen, I'm there on a mission. Most of the time, I'm still going to the kitchen. Hey, I think I'm going to go clean the kitchen. No, I'm fucking hungry. Get some food in my face now, And it usually doesn't. Now, here's the other thing, though. I don't have to finish a meal. Like, there's all kinds of stuff about this, but let's get back to Gmail. Or let's start again with the lock screen, okay? So now we're gonna do housekeeping right now, and I'm gonna let me back up a second. Yes, we're gonna do a cursory kind of housekeeping. I'm going to do what needs to be done between 9:15 a.m., which is now, and 10. Is there anything in here that I need to be doing now? And if it's not, then we might actually also, how do I explain this? If I only focus on the next 45 minutes and the question is basically, do I need to shut this down? Do I need to turn you guys off right now? That's the first thing. Now, I have to also recognize that I'm going to have to come back and do like a full housekeeping, or at least a housekeeping for what the must-dos for today are, because that's just how I function, right? Let's just see how it goes. Okay, and when we do this, I'm going to be able to introduce some of these concepts. So I'm also going to be explaining to you some of the kinds of things I have in Gmail. Now, first thing though, go slow. So on my lock screen, okay, because these things are in here, I've got this drink water, right? So let's do that right now. I also have my coffee, but let's do this first. All right, so I'm going to be drinking water throughout the rest of this. I just need to kind of hit that. Now, when I am multitasking or doing something here, I'm not going to remember to drink that water. I won't do it. I'm talking to you. I'm multitasking. I'm changing. I'm going on tangents. I'm not going to remember to drink that water. So what I'm going to do is I can do one of two things. I kind of like setting a timer. The reason I like to set a timer is because it's real easy just to repeat it. But I can also snooze the drink water calendar notification. And I think I'm going to do that just because I want to test it some more, kind of pressure test these notifications. But I can snooze this right here from my lock screen. So let's do that. And then that's going to do the new bell, which I can also kind of get used to. And that's the way we're going to do this. So I'm going to long press on the lock screen notification, and I'm going to say snooze, and it's going to go away. Now, the main part is not to get it to go away, but to get it to come back and make a noise. Okay. So that's going to remind me to do this. Plus I need to finish off my coffee. Now I've got this go slow plus flow and barriers. Now this is actually kind of a problem. And this is, I'm not feeling that. I'm not feeling that at all. The reason I'm not feeling it is because I haven't done this cursory housekeeping yet, because I've been talking to you. So I definitely need to get over into Gmail. So I'm going to leave this one up. You know what I think I'm going to do? Another thing I haven't put on here is that I'm trying to pay attention to time. So it's 9:19, right? So we're about to leave the beginning of the 9 o'clock hour, and we're going to be going into the middle part of the 9 o'clock hour when it becomes 9:20. So from 9:20 to 9:40 is that kind of middle part of the hour. So what I'm thinking, the reason I'm thinking about these things is like, when do I want to be reminded of this? I can leave it up here, this go slow, just leave it here. And then that way it'll be here when I come back. So I'm going to leave it here as what's called a breadcrumb. I'm going to leave it on my lock screen. It's going to remain on my lock screen until at least 10 o'clock. So I like that. I'm going to keep that there because I'm getting ready to go over to Gmail. So I don't really need to get this out of my way. I don't need to snooze it. I don't need to bring it back up at 9:30. When we get to what I call the home stretch, or the end of the hour, or the latter part of the hour, I think I'm going to call it the home stretch. When we get to the home stretch of the hour, that's the time when I need to kind of make some decisions. Am I going to go slow? Do I need to snooze this to some later time, next hour and stuff like that? But for right now, it's perfect just to leave it in here because this is an intersection. This is how I function, is on the lock screen. And I'm going to explain also the connection between the lock screen and Gmail and how I can point to Gmail from the lock screen. So I'll explain that after. We got to do Gmail first because I got to have something to be able to point to, and I'll explain that also. Then I have my keeping my fans up to date. That just doesn't need to be here. I want to get rid of it because it's so fast. I'm just going to go to my calendar, and I'm just going to drag that down because I just have no idea what I'm going to do. Plus, that keeping my fans aware of where I'm going to be is also reminding me that I need to figure out where I want to be. So everything doesn't have to be exactly what it is. I know like what needs to come before, what needs to come next, and all that stuff. So the key trigger here, just reminders like this idea of the fans, but it's a broader thing of performing and am I in the mood and when I'm going to do that, where I'm going to be, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to drag that down to the 10 o'clock hour. Doesn't mean I have to do anything at 10 o'clock, but I might choose to do something. I definitely have to eat first, and I love to have a luxurious breakfast. I really have a good time right over here, and my TV is right there. So I love to just have breakfast, eat slowly, chew my food, drink water, watch TV, and just take the whole hour from 10 to 11 without any regard to time at all. And it's very relaxing to do that. Okay, so now that I moved that to 10, now all that remains is the go slow, and the drink water, which remember we snoozed the drink water, but the go slow is still here on my lock screen because that's an intersection and that's how I focus on my day. And so whenever I get back in here, I'm going to see that. And that's perfect because I don't really know how long I want to wait to see it again. So it works, okay? So now we can go in earnest. Now we can move over to Gmail. All right. Now, as part, I'll be able to define these things as I go through the process because the first thing I want to look at in Gmail Oh, that's perfect. Okay. The first thing I want to look at I'll tell you what I just saw. The first thing I always look at in Gmail, and normally that I'm doing this like this morning, but like I told you, I don't know if I told you this or not, about this morning. I told you about yesterday, but this morning I also had a tangent, a rabbit hole I went down, not really a rabbit hole, I just say a tangent around a performance that I did. And I had the one that I was telling you about yesterday, but the video from that performance yesterday, I got on a little tangent of editing that video and posting it to my Instagram. So that's another reason I didn't actually get through my housekeeping. Okay. So anyway, this is normally what I'm about to tell you. This is normally what I would have done this morning, but I allowed myself, I gave myself agency. I gave myself permission just to edit this video just because because I think it was tied to this telling fans where I'm going to be, which I do through Instagram, which reminded me of the video that I did yesterday. So that, this one thing about keeping my fans up to date can lead to the whole world of music for me and remind me about all kinds of things. And I just did it. I just gave myself permission. It's Saturday. Fuck you. I'm going to do whatever I want. And I did it. And now I'm catching up with sort of the housekeeping, and I'm also spending time to share it with you. Okay. So normally when first thing in the morning, I do the coffee pot while the coffee's brewing. I get straight into Gmail and I go right to the starred view. It's just these, you can see these little blue stars here. So you just star any kind of Gmail, and then I'm in the view that's called starred. And the reason I want to look at that first is because a item, this is not the only time it gets a star, and I'll explain it for a second, but for this purpose, when I add a task from Gmail, and really almost all of my tasks start in Gmail, even if it's something that I just thought about that I want to do today and that I want to put on my calendar, I will still go over to Gmail, create it, and then immediately just go throw it over in the calendar. And the reason for it is because I want a safety net. So these blue star items are safety nets. So when I take something from Gmail and I put it on my calendar, then what I do, and I copy it, Gmail makes it very easy to copy paste us, whatever. So when I copy and paste the task from Gmail to the calendar, and I'll use the word task, by the way. It's not always task. It could just be information that I want to deliver. But so when I copy and paste something from Gmail into the calendar, what I'll do is I'm inside the Gmail, which means that it's red, like READ. And then I will place a blue star on it, or a star, and you can actually do different color stars, but mine defaults to blue, and there's reasons for that. Put a star on it, and then I'll snooze it for the next day. So these items that I'm looking at right now are items that I put on yesterday's calendar that I want to now review and make sure that I did them. And so that gives me all kinds of freedom to not worry about forgetting something. Does that make sense? So all these items should really be just safety net items that I can just go off and say, oh, I did this, I did this, I did this. And knowing that these are going to be here, I can make decisions. Like I was able to make decisions yesterday. There's my new little bell for the drinking water. Let's do that. Another thing that I want to test is, this is dumb because my reactions don't need to be this fast, but I bet I could have. Well, let's do this. Create event for 2 minutes from now.
I can create your event, but you already have 4 events that overlap with this. Should I schedule it anyway?
Yes.
I scheduled your event from now to 10:29 a.m.
So as much as I'd love for that to not happen, and I don't think there's a way, I have to deal with that. It overlaps, whatever. Well, fuck, that's the way I run my life, bitch. Okay, so these stars, right? Let's see. So it gives me a lot of freedom, because at any point during the day, like yesterday, let's talk about at any point yesterday, I was able to just decide that I'm not going to do anything or do something, right? A specific thing, like, look, I'm not going to do that today. And knowing that I have this safety net here in Gmail keeps me from having to say, oh my God, well, when am I going to do this? Or do I need to copy it and paste it back into Gmail because I'm not going to do it? I don't have to worry about that, because I know that it's going to show up. Okay. Oh shit. I missed it. Hang on. Create event for 2 minutes from now.
I can create your event, but you already have. Your event is scheduled from now to 10:31 a.m.
I'll try to catch it this one time, and then I'll give up. I mean, it's kind of dumb, but I'm just curious to see if I think I can, because it's a banner. It's just temporary. It's not permanent. But I bet you that if I catch it, I can snooze that right away. But it just doesn't matter. It's stupid. It's like a little game. But that's kind of antithetical to everything I'm about. Just, oh my God, I got to get, it's like now it's the worst thing possible, because it's even worse than a persistent. If you really want a super persistent and you need to break yourself out of some funk, do something like that, where it's like, you got to get it before it stops. That's like even worse than a persistent alarm that won't shut up until you do it. This is one you got to jump across the room to try to beat, like make it a game, and you're going to lose. Even if you lose the game, it'd be pretty cool, like to gamify it, because I'm gamifying it now. I'm actually nervous now. I'm actually nervous about this. Oh, you know what I just thought of? You can make a longer alarm. So remember that there's that radar thing. Here, let's do that. Watch this. Check this out. So you can even customize this. I'm going to go to notifications, and I'm also going to try to catch the thing when it happens, right? Calendar. Now you got the sound, and it's presto. I can snooze it. Okay, so whatever. But here's another thing. Now, this is just something I want to test, and I'm gonna switch it back to Presto because I like the fast thing. But now I just can't help it. Let's go to radiate. See how long that is? So if you ever want to have something long, I think this will work. So now I've got radiate. Now let's do this. Create event for 2 minutes from now.
I can create
And I'm just
It's on your
cutting.
calendar from now to 10:33 a.m.
Create event for 2 minutes from now.
I can create. Your event is scheduled from now to 10.
Okay, so if your hands are free, you can always shut it up. And by the way, the reason I'm creating that event, I'm using Siri to create that event, is because you can't create an event for just 2 minutes from now. It's only in 5-minute increments. So that if you ever want to just throw something on your lock screen for the next hour, you can do that. And it's really nice to be able to do that, especially if you're multitasking, you're in another app, maybe you're in Gmail, maybe you're brushing your teeth or whatever, you can just do that. And it's a wonderful way just to throw something on your lock screen. And then once your hands are free, you can go from there. Another way to do that is sending yourself a text message. Okay. So anyway, the radiate, this will be fun when that comes up. But in the meantime, and I'm going to leave that. Anyway, I won't get into how I want to change that sound, but there's no risk of me forgetting to change that sound because I'm going to hear it, so I don't have to worry about forgetting to change that back to Presto. We're going to go back into Gmail. And so these blue star items are in Gmail because I put them. Interesting. That's interesting. Did you notice that it didn't finish the radiate? Radiate's very long. And I'm not sure, but I think you heard the first one come up and then it kind of, that radiate was faster for the second one. So definitely cut it off. But then I thought it might keep playing it, but it will not because it's a temporary. So you can't make the temporary stick. So it doesn't work the way I thought it would work, which is just another reason to go back to Presto. So let's go ahead and do that right now. I love that. That's very loud, as you can probably tell. I love that. I like it being loud, getting out of my way, knowing it's different than the alarm. I love that. So thank you guys for being there because I found this and it's like, it literally is a toy. All of these things to me are just toys. I love it. All right. So back to the blue star thing, right? So like I said, we're going to go through them. And I need to go through these because here's another thing. I have to think about this actually, but basically what I was saying is I need to do this cursory housekeeping, right? Because I need to make sure that I'm okay. I need to give myself permission to keep talking to you, right? And I'd like to talk to you for the next 30 minutes or something like that, which would be really cool. And that would be ending up me being on here for 2 hours. But like I said, I'm solving my own problems. So this is kind of fun. It's almost like body doubling in a way, if you're familiar with body doubling. And I did stream a lot during COVID and stuff. And it gave me sort of like this body doubling kind of vibe where I really felt present. Okay. So like I said, these blue star items are, theoretically, I shouldn't even have to look at this because it's just a safety net. But because these things ended up on my calendar, by default, they were kind of time-sensitive things. And they're not necessarily glass balls or must-dos or critical, but there is a relationship there. And before there was even more of a relationship. Like I said, I'm switching things up a little bit where I'm doing a little more in Gmail, doing a little less and different things kind of in calendar. But just the fact that they're time sensitive things makes me want to make sure that there's nothing in here that I missed, because that's the whole point of this, is to be a safety net. So I have to at least look at these. There's only 5 of them. So let's look at them. I'm not going to read all of them unless they're relevant. Okay, one of them I did. I'm not even going to clear the ones that I did. I'm not even going to do that. I've got this thing about keeping my fans up to date. Now, do you remember me having that in the calendar? So, but here's the difference between this. And this is another way. God, there's so much art to this, but I have decided when it makes sense to kind of funnel things through a process that may not be totally and very customized to that one scenario, because I just don't want to have a bunch of custom processes for all these different kinds of tasks. So what I did, this is a perfect example of this. So this keep fans up to date on where I'm going to be performing. There's a couple of characteristics of this. The first thing is that this is not a routine. I don't think I'm going to make it anything repetitive in my calendar. I just don't think I'm going to, especially since it's not going to be something that's time sensitive, like on a future date. For today, it could be time sensitive because I know I'm talking to you guys, so I don't need to know about it until whenever, right? But the important point is that there are things that are like that. There are things that I want to, I'm not only just making sure that I did them yesterday, but I may also want to do them today or even every day or every week or whatever. So, but I'm sending those things through the same housekeeping safety net process. So instead of having multiple processes. Now, why is that, or how does that actually work? Well, it goes to the same, it's the same idea as this. I want to inform my future self. So while I created this process in the spirit of a safety net, it's also just a way for me to look at things early in my housekeeping process, because I start my housekeeping process with this blue starred items. So some of these items are going to be done and I don't even have to look at them, which is the idea. But some of these are also going to be things that are I added to my calendar, but I still want to do them. Either because I didn't do them and I still want to do them, they're actually tasks, but also things that are repetitive. And so rather than having a separate process, some of these items that may end up being repeating calendar things and at the same time or whatever, I don't need to commit to that or clutter my calendar yet with them. So I can just, it's like okay for me to spend the time having to review this tomorrow and then the next day and then the next day. I don't care, because I can just put it on my calendar whenever. I know I'm going to be reviewing these every day. And then at some point I might say, you know what, that should be a routine. I want to check that every morning. Does that make sense? And then sometimes I can just decide also to just have it be a repeating calendar entry and not be in Gmails. It's up to me, but the mechanism is more important than the characteristic or like the specific scenario. And so I'm choosing to use a single mechanism for whatever I put on my calendar, kind of, unless I absolutely know that I don't need a safety net. If it's something that literally is only happening today, like a concert or something, then there's no point. I don't need to look at it tomorrow. But it could be a repeating thing, like I said, or something in the future that needs to be done. And this is one of those. This keeping my fans up to date. It's something that's time specific for today, but it's also something that I need to remember that I kind of want to do, and I haven't been doing it. So what I would say is that I would make this a strategy. But again, I'm not going to do it right now. I'm going to do it later. But what I'm going to tell you with this one, and it's a good segue into strategies, is that, and I need to go faster with this to make sure, but I don't care. Let's just pretend that I'm worried about needing to do something and turning this off. I'm really not. Let's just pretend that I'm doing this cursory, but it's a simulated cursory because I'm not really doing it very fast. Normally I could do a cursory review just like this. Okay, so we're going to do like kind of a fake simulated demo of like what the cursory process would look like. But for the purposes of describing as I'm doing this, a process is that this keeping my fans up to date is very much can be, I can implement this using another mechanism that I call it a strategy mechanism, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a strategy mechanism. But basically what it is putting a label on this. And so what I could do is I would leave it red, which is READ, and we'll run into these strategies. Maybe I should just do it now. Let me just show you how I'll do this. So I'm going to open it up. So I'm in the starred view. The first one is keeping my fans up to date. So I'm going to tap on it to open that up. It's got the blue star, and I'm going to remove the blue star from it because the purpose of the blue star was to get me here. Now I need to go do something with this. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the blue star off of it. And I don't have to do this, but I'm going to do it. Two things. One, I'm going to put, will it let me do a label and let me come back to it? Let me put the strategy label on it. It will. Okay, so then what I did is I put a strategy label on it. Okay, and all that means is it's just going to show a little .s, a little gray box to the right of it when it's in the inbox. But since I have this covered for today, so I don't need this in my strategy inbox for today, but for tomorrow. So now I'm going to snooze this for tomorrow so that tomorrow it'll show up as a strategy that I can then figure out, okay, how do I implement this strategy? Like, what do I actually need for keeping my fans up to date? It's not really a strategy. I'm just using the strategy mechanism. A more accurate strategy would be something like be more mindful, or something like that. That's more of just like literally a pure reminder that may be implemented by some task or something. I don't know. Okay. But we're going to use the strategy mechanism, and I'll show you why that's useful for this when we get to that point. Okay. Because there's a bunch of strategies that are in my inbox, but I need to ignore those, and I'll show you how I do that. So, now this is interesting. Okay. So this is funny. This is already snoozed for tomorrow. And you know why that is? It's because I put it on my calendar today, and then I put a blue star on it, and then I snoozed it for tomorrow. The only reason I'm seeing this, and this is my bad, because I'm going to the general starred view and not the inbox only starred view. That's why I'm seeing this, and I missed it. So it's okay. But tomorrow, this is actually beyond a strategy, because tomorrow's Sunday, and I may be playing tomorrow. And so hang on a second. Hold on. I'm going to put the blue star back. Let's reverse. I'm going to take the label off. Okay, so I just reversed what I did. In fact, let's go back into the starred view. And I can see in my starred view that this is at the top, but that it is snoozed until tomorrow. So that's my bad, but let me explain why that is. So this is not, how do I explain this? I do want to keep my fans up to date on when I perform, and I want to do that in general, but tomorrow is actually this is an active thing for tomorrow, because I may be performing tomorrow. Does that make sense? So this is not a strategy thing. This is a hard thing that I want to do tomorrow, but I'm using, which I've already done, I'm using the safety net blue star just to get it into my head. So when I do my housekeeping tomorrow morning, this is going to pop up, and this is going to be one of the first things I look at. Does that make sense? So I don't need to do anything with this. It was my oversight. And I like to use the starred view for certain reasons, but I also have a view, a search in Gmail, which is very powerful. And I should have one that's called category primary is starred. And that's really the ones that I would want to look at, because I don't need to look at the starred snooze stuff, but whatever, you get the idea, right? It's just up to me whether I want to push 2 buttons or 1 button or where I am. And if you do a search, it also allows you to back up to where whatever view you were in before. So it operates like a breadcrumb. But whatever. Okay. So now my next one is something that I did, and I'm not going to, I'm sitting on my hands because I'm simulating a cursory review, but I'm also bringing in some additional information for you. Okay. So there's one that I did do, but I'm not doing anything now. There's another one that I do definitely want to do today, and it's called Get Cash. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this one up. I'm going to copy it, the text, which is very easy to do in Gmail because like you don't have to edit it or anything. You just long press. It's awesome. Anyway, copy. Now let's flip over to my calendar view. And I'm going to put this, I need to get rid of these events, all these events that I created to test. Let me clean these up because they're really cluttering my view. Just kill these things. It's all these generic events. There's like 4 of them. Let me just kill them so I can see better. All right. By the way, I had my nice little, I don't know if I drank water when I had my little, my bell that rang. And it just reminded me because I'm in the calendar and I see the red line that talks about like where I am in the day, like time wise. It's 9:48. It's right here. And it's going right across the drink water and the go slow. Now, the other thing is, remember, I'm thinking about, the home stretch. I'm in that home stretch. And so while I'm in here, right, I'm not going to forget where I was, by the way, because I have a breadcrumb. If I go back into Gmail, you can see these 2 windows. And this one here is Gmail, and this one is the calendar. So I'm not going to forget what I was doing by going off on this tangent and thinking about what I need to do to set up for next hour, right? But while I'm in here, I'm seeing this. So this is there's an intersection with the lock screen, but there's also an intersection because I always, almost even just for a security blanket, but I'm always in my calendar, just moving things around and stuff like that. And I've got this go slow thing, and I've got this drink water thing. Well, I'm almost finished with drinking water, but I don't know. I didn't snooze it or anything. If I do snooze it for 9 minutes, 9 minutes will be 50, like 9:58 or something like that. I'll go ahead and do that. But then I'll lose it. When we go into 10 o'clock, I'm going to lose that. So I'm not going to do that. And plus, I'm coming right up to breakfast. So I'm going to punt drink water just to practice and get in the habit of doing this. And I'm going to punt this go slow thing, right? I'm just going to punt it down to the next hour. I don't need to see that every hour, but I just haven't even thought about how often I want to see it. And so that's why I keep punting it. This is not like a big thing or anything. It's just clearing out my lock screen so that it's clean now. I do have this notification from my boss that's work related, but I don't care to get rid of it. So now I've got it totally clean. Like this one, there's a whole like meme that I have on this blank screen. I call it the blank screen of freedom or the black screen of freedom. I think blank screen of freedom sounds better. So there's that, right? So let's go back. Oh, what was I doing? Let's pretend that I don't remember. Well, so let's go back and pretend, oh yeah, it's the cache. I was coming in here to add get cache, right? And I already have it copied. So all I have to do is come in here and paste. Well, when am I going to get cache? I don't know. But I'm pretty sure I'm not going to do it until 11 because I'm going to have my luxurious breakfast. Wait a minute. Hang on, let me look at my notes about, because there might be something going on this morning. Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is interesting. I just remembered that there's something that I could have been doing instead of talking to you. And there's a farmer's market that I wanted to go check out the vibe about. But it's from 9 to 12. It's almost 10 o'clock. I haven't had breakfast. So I'm not going to get there in time. If I wanted to, I could just go up there, see what the vibe is, and then I can also perform, which might not be the worst idea. Because all I have to do is drive over to this adjoining. I'm going to be pretty close to this area where this farmer's market is, and then I can come back and perform. So I do. This is actually pretty important. I forgot that there were things today. Did I just fucking not pick that up? Hang on. And I should also have a list of other I'm missing my other list. Oh, you know what I did? I know what I did. I'm over here, but I know what I did. I started consolidating all these performance venue things. Yeah, so I've got the Saturday thing. There's this musicians meetup thing. There's the farmers market. There's a beer fest. There's a lantern thing. And then there's another thing in this other place that's by this farmer's market. Okay. Okay. So you're seeing me panic in real time right now. Because it is 10 o'clock. You know what I should do? I am going to stop this right now. Let me do it. Well, now I need to do a real cursory thing. Because what I'm thinking is I need to get up and go to the farmer's market right now. That's what I'm going to do right now. So let's make sure that there's not anything, nobody's going to die. If anybody's going to die, nothing should be in Gmail if somebody's going to die, like before 10 a.m. I mean, if it's something like that, it needs to be an alarm. It needs to be on my calendar. But I'm just going to check real quick. Oh, and this get cash thing is now. I need to get it now. So it's 9:54. I'm going to put get cash because I need cash. And then I'm going to go ahead and put in here now. Farmer's market is what I'm going to put because that's what I'm doing. I'm going to go. And then I'm going to extend my YouTube stream down till the end of this hour, which is because I'm still talking to you. It's been 2 hours. So now I've got my documented evidence. I also have evidence that I fucked up, that you guys totally fucked me up. And so I've got all that. That's all going to come up on my screen. Now, real quick, what the fuck? So the get cash, I'm going to snooze that for tomorrow because in case I don't do it today, I still want to do it. I've got these starred things. None of these things matter. Let me go back to I'm going to go into my category. Primary is unread. And I'm going to look through here. And I got to look real quick. Oh, shit. Fuck. This is my dad. So I have to respond to him right now. This is so fucked up. But fuck them. Fucking assholes. Let me do this real quick. I got to go in now because this is all relevant for you guys because this is how I keep track of things. So I just responded to my dad, but I should have CC'd myself so I have it in my Gmail inbox because this is a critical thing. It's got Monday. I want to remember that it's not until Monday, so I don't worry about it. But then on Monday, I need to remember, hey, shit's coming up or even whatever. So I want to remember this. So did I just do it? What the fuck did I just do? Hang on. Okay, so I want to forward this. I don't know. I don't even know what the fuck I just did. I need to forward this to myself. My response to him of me saying that Monday works. And then in the subject to the left, like in front of the forward colon, because it says breakfast ? And it says forward : breakfast ? In front of there, I'm going to say breakfast Monday. And I'm going to put it in all caps. And then this is also my response to him so I can go see exactly what I told him, which is a little bit overkill. But again, when I'm doing this stuff by myself, it's real time, it's fast, right? Now, I'm going to go into primary because I'm paranoid. There it is, okay? So let me go back now again. So that's a good thing that I did that before I left. So let's see what else I've got. I could have had breakfast with my daughter, but I didn't hear from her. I don't think I did. I've got some things in messages, but they're just from myself. Talking about this one, I'm just going to get rid of because it's going to get confusing. Oh, shit. My speaker, I didn't charge my speaker. I think it's okay, but I definitely, oh, fuck, man. Okay, that's another thing. So it's good that I looked at this, and it's kind of fucking me up because my speaker is almost dead, but I'm gonna go ahead and I don't care. So I'm gonna leave right now. I think I'm okay. And we're just gonna go. Like I'm going. And I'm just gonna make this happen, and I hope that I don't hurt the battery thing. I don't even know what's going on right now, but I think I'm gonna go to the farmer's market, get some breakfast. Hopefully they got some food around there or something, and then just go from there. Perfect. Let's do it there. Do breakfast there. I've got water that I can bring with me too. So I got my water bottle. I'm going to do that. So I'm just going to change and get out of here. So I'll see you guys next time.